You there? El? It's me. It's Mike. It's day 352. 7:40 p.m. I'm still here. If you're out there, say something. Or give me a sign. I won't even say anything. Just, I want to know if you're okay. Hello, is that you?
So we are going to get into part 2 of this season 4 finale by talking about season 5, our predictions, thoughts, theories, all that good stuff. So who I guess I'll begin by saying, will Max survive in season 5? Survive in season 5? Who wants to yeah,
hope
okay,
so.
you go.
I freaking hope so. I will be so mad if she does not survive. I cannot let her go. I'm just not ready for that.
Yeah,
I do have a prediction. And I don't know. I mean, all of my predictions have been completely wrong so far, so we'll see. But my prediction is based on what Vecna has said previously in season 4, that everybody he's killed is still with him. So I'm predicting that he is somehow holding on to Max's consciousness. And that's why 11 can't find Max. But Elle has somehow been able to keep Max's body alive so that in season 5 we will somehow see Max's consciousness return to her body. So that's what I'm holding on hope for. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Max. She has to survive.
Yeah. My answer is yes. Otherwise she would have just died.
Yeah.
But there could be like a real world explanation that, you know, I hate to think about, but it's possible that like Sadie Sink doesn't want to do Stranger Things anymore, or maybe not sure, so they had to put her in this precarious place. But you know, I don't think that that's necessarily. I base that off of absolutely nothing, but just in past experience, sometimes TV shows have done that. Like a character could be killed if the actor doesn't want to keep doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I truly believe that if they wanted her to die, she would have just died.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with what Kathleen said. I think that's why 11 can't find Max, like in her mind, because I mean, I do think Vecna did take like Max's mind with him on the way out. He just, you know, fortunately didn't completely snap, crackle, and pop her, which I know is more morbid, but yeah, and
snap, crackle, and pop. Oh man, we're using that.
Yeah. So, but I do think if and when the mind gets returned to the body, I still don't think Max will ever be the same again. I think she will be disabled permanently, whether that's physically or mentally. And I hate to even think about that, but I think is one of the good things about the show is that it does, you know, portray real life consequences, I guess, or real life.
It's always been true to that.
Yeah, but
true to reality.
I'll talk about this thought when we get to question 2 because it's more related to question 2. But yeah, I do think she survives, but it's going to be interesting to see how they go through that in season 5.
Yeah.
Definitely gives Lucas something good or a good plot line chew on as an actor.
Gosh, Lucas.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
I know. So sweet of him though in the hospital. I really liked that.
Reading to her.
Yeah.
What book is that? Did you guys catch that? It starts with a T, I think. Tribulation.
Tale of Two Cities?
No.
I think it's something like something back in the pioneer days or something. 'Cause he reads a line about pioneers or something. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. And
I know. I kind of want to read it. Because, Jeffer Brothers always likes to use
it's probably
things,
relevant.
not only from the 80s, but like relevant to the storyline.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting. Yeah, we should definitely go back and look that up.
So, at the end of episode 9, we see the Upside Down is starting to like completely take over Hawkins, like really fast. Like I was surprised at how fast it happened. But what kind of like creatures and forces do you think they'll face? Like what Nancy was talking about, what Vecna showed her. What do you think? More mind flayers, more demogorgons, all that, or different kinds of creatures that he takes from within the Upside Down? What do you think?
I think we're gonna see. So what I took from the smoke inhabiting all of those formaldehyde demodogs in Russia is that the mind flayer really is everything. And I know we already knew that. How many times to say hive mind in this season? Like hive mind. I say it like a million
Don't step
times.
on the vines.
Yeah, I think we see the hive mind without a brain attack the town at the beginning of next season. So I think it's demodogs and demobats and maybe even the smoke, but with Vecna hurting, with their leader, I think that they are ultimately defeated. And I guess we have a question later about what is our ideal finalist season. And I'll explain that later, but I think that we see our same animals, or what do we call them? Creatures, Lovecraftian creatures. I think we see them attack the town of Hawkins, but without
a purpose.
Any purpose, yeah.
That's interesting. I definitely think we're gonna see some demodogs, maybe some demogorgons, but I also feel like with every season we get a new monster. So I feel like we will have some sort of new big creature or creatures that are also involved, fueled by Vecna, of course. So what those will be, I'm not sure. But I definitely think we'll have a mix of old and new.
Opening scene. It's the kitchen, Wheeler house. Ted Wheeler is working on a plate of pancakes, and a new upside-down creature comes in through the thing, and he chops the head off, and he says, "Get your own food. Don't you have somewhere else to go?"
Yes.
Credits.
God, all these jokes about Ted.
Nancy says, like, she talks about like this big beast and these monsters everywhere, and she doesn't really describe any of them. And I feel like because she's seen all of like the monsters thus far in this show, I would think she would know they would be demogorgons and the mind flayer and stuff. So that's why I wanted to get you guys' opinion.
Oh yeah.
But also
Demo elephants.
Ooh, and maybe spiders. We know that he has a huge connection with spiders.
That would be that would be terrifying for me because I'm scared of spiders. But
oh gosh, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
But I don't really mean to get very theological here, but as I was watching episode 8 and then watching everything in episode 9 happen, it felt very Book of Revelations to me. And so my coworker actually had texted me this, and she was talking about the 4 horsemen in the Book of Revelation, like in Armageddon and stuff. And the 4 horsemen are like conquest, war, hunger, and death. Like they represent all four of those things respectively. And so I went back to Vecna needing 4 portals to completely open up, let the Upside Down completely take over. So kind of what we're talking about when I was on y'all's show about the spires, all the bodies on the spires. And because we know from Brenner that Henry doesn't just take victims, he consumes them, everything about them, through inside out. And so I kind of wonder, will we see something kind of similar from each 4 corners of where all these portals have opened? And on one side you'll have hunger, and then famine, and then war, and then eventually death, which is kind of what I think. I feel like Henry is really going for that, and I think in season 5 we'll see maybe first comes famine, then comes war, then comes conquest, then comes death. So I could be looking incredibly too much into that, but it's kind of how I kind of pictured it. And that's also what's really scared me.
That is super interesting and not something that I really considered before. And it kind of checks out. I mean, if you think about it, there are 4 branches to the splits in the town too. Yeah. It's like a shape of the cross, really. Mm-hmm. And you look back to Vecna or Henry, and his delusional mind thinks that like he needs to correct the world. Mm-hmm. Like he needs to, because like humans are the issue, so he has to clean it up and purge it. And
it feels like if Vecna Henry one was a fan of any book, it would be the Old Testament type of. I don't know if is Revelations in the Old Testament.
It's
I don't know.
New Testament.
All right, well. My grandma was a Sunday school teacher in the 70s, but she quit, so I don't know anything. But I mean, it feels like him going for something like that fits his monologues, really.
Yeah.
Like his kind of like, I need to make it something beautiful.
Right. And starting with famine, that checks out with the way the plant life and everything is dying off. Like, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. That totally makes sense. Yeah. That's super interesting.
And so I think now that he has all 4 of them, consumed them totally with him, I think we might maybe see Max, her consciousness or whatever be a part of that. I could kind of see that.
What if he uses the actual people he killed? So, like, famine is Chrissy. I don't know, like...
Chrissy.
Well, she did have the anorexia thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Like, what if, like, we actually see those characters, but in this dark, gruesome way, coming back?
Mm. Like what?
Because he has their bodies. Yeah. He has everybody's bodies except for Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's super interesting. Oh, I really love this theory.
Revelations, a revelatory theory.
Yeah, it's bold. And if they actually do that, I would love my cut of the money,
Just
for being right. I'm like, hey, or I'll email them that. So when they write it, they can put that in there. And like,
send
hey, I get creds.
Time stamped, yeah.
Writing creds, like, hey,
We have it here. We have the evidence that you guessed that. So if that happens, hey.
Yeah. So
we'll back you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we've already kind of talked about a time jump in season 5, but how would you think they could actually do that? Like, how could you see them like opening up with a time jump?
I think that they could do the Avengers Endgame path in which they start right 1 second later, and they resolve some first act crisis, and then at the end of Act 2, they say 3 years later. That's the only thing I can think of, because they can't walk back from that site that they have seen and say 1 year later. They just they have got to do something at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I said. But as I pointed out in, I think, every podcast I've been on in the last 30 days, time jump means literally nothing. We've jumped time since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out.
I didn't really know how to answer that one because I have no idea. How are they? That's the question that I want to ask here. How are they going to do this time jump to move forward? I mean, I was thinking maybe Hawkins does turn into this wasteland and they sit and wait while 11 tries to get stronger over the next couple years, and Vecta himself is also getting stronger, but we do also have that hint that, I mean, he's mentioned that he can manipulate time. We have the time that stopped in 1983 in the Upside Down, so that has to come into play somehow, and that doesn't really track with, my theory. So I have no clue what they're going to do with this.
I don't want them to get into time travel. We're too late.
Yeah.
That opens up so many cans of worms.
Yeah. But time manipulation, though.
Yeah, maybe. I'm kind of bummed. I think our consensus here is there can't be that big of a time jump, right? Right, Ashley? I mean, I'm assuming that's what you're...
Yeah, I would love it even if they did a time jump to the end of the year of 1986 or in the winter of 1987. I want them to have season 5 in the wintertime, because we know that everything from the Upside Down doesn't like heat, and it loves the cold, and I just don't see how it can survive through the summer months completely taken over if it can't withstand light or heat or anything like that. And winter is the only season they haven't done in a whole season.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm kind of bummed by the way the season ends with this cliffhanger, because we won't get season 5 starting off with no problem. And I love that part of every season.
Yeah.
Season 2, season 3, season 4, we're at Scoops Ahoy, we're at the mall, we're at the arcade, we're at these places, we're in the video store where they're just living their lives. Instead, we're gonna have to start in crisis mode.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree
there.
Like every other season has had a pretty clear ending, and then they give us more, whereas this one is not. We truly left on a cliffhanger.
So,
I would watch season 4.5, which is no acknowledgement of the Upside Down and just these characters just living their lives. I'd watch it.
So within that same vein, I could see it as in between the times of season 4 and season 5, they actually leave Hawkins to get to safety for a little while, and till they can really figure out really how to really stop it and defeat it, and then come back. But I don't think it'll be months. I think it'll be over the course of maybe a few days, a couple weeks or something like that, because they still have the RV, if I'm not mistaken, so they could totally travel with that.
They didn't give that RV back.
Oh,
I don't think so.
People gonna sleep in.
Yeah, that's how I could maybe see it starting out. So at least you would have some more lighter moments. But no, I don't think think we'll get even 2 episodes of cheer. I think it'll be in flashes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the season that everything is ending. So there's a lot to cover.
They still get good moments in there. Ashley, your comedy moment was not in a happy time, right? It was the
Yeah.
snowball in
Yeah.
Max's mind, and so yeah, they still get it in there.
Yeah. So, who do you think will die in season 5? And you can't say Max because we ended on a cliffhanger with that. So, it's got to be something totally unexpected. Main character wise.
Well,
Oh, I've got one that no one is gonna like. No one's gonna like this. I've got one character on the docket for death in season 5, and it is 11.
Yeah.
She sacrifices herself for all at the end. It's kind of the one thing in season 1 that I feel like was supposed to be part of the original story. If this was a one season script, that 11 would have died at the end there with the chalkboard Demogorgon evaporation. And so I just feel like it's just kind of a card that they have in their sleeves, and she's going to have to do something to end the Upside Down from the inside, you know. So she's kind of the main one that I think will probably die.
yeah. I have to agree with you there. I feel like it could go one of two ways. Either 11 dies, saving everybody, sacrificing herself, as Miles said, or none of the main characters die and everybody survives, which I could certainly see. I mean, like a Harry Potter situation, like ancillary characters maybe die, but the core characters live on. And I mean, that's my hope. As Miles always says, I like nice things.
Yeah.
So I want them to all survive. I don't want to lose a single person. I mean, I cannot handle this Max line here that we could be losing Max.
Yeah.
I refuse to accept it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you there. I do think 11 would most likely be the one to die because of, you know, what you were saying about that's how it was always supposed to be. You know, season 1 had only been the only season of the show. But I also think Mike could also die as well. And maybe in my imagination, it would be like, you know, he's the heart of the group, he's taken charge, and he dies a hero's death, and in the moment when he's slowly dying and 11 goes, Mike, I need you, I've always needed you. And it's like I'm getting emotional just thinking about it now. It probably won't happen.
Wow.
But and then after he dies, you know, not her being like suicidal, but you know, I could definitely see it being like, okay, I lost, you know, now this is personal to me now, and definitely going
She
to the
uses
death.
that pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably won't happen, but I like to have fun with these things sometimes, okay?
Yeah.
And not that I
Hey,
want
hey,
Mike to
that's-
die. But yeah, I think I would just think it would be such a beautiful moment because think about it, they haven't really talked about him actually saying I love you to her yet. I don't think they have. And
Yeah.
and she heard, you know, him say why he's never said it because he never, you know, he was afraid that she wouldn't need him anymore. And I just think it would be such
Yeah.
a beautiful moment to say, I need you, I've
Yeah.
always needed you,
Wow.
you know. But whatever it is, the Netflix executives cried when they read the outline of season 5. So it
Oh gosh.
something within
No.
season 5 has to be,
Yeah.
you know, very sad for them to do that.
Do we know how prone these particular executives are to crying? I'm kidding.
You know, Miles and I came up with a little theory too, that
We did.
somehow season 5 ends with Will. I mean, we started
Oh,
Stranger
yeah.
Things with Will,
Mhm.
and it could totally end with Will,
Yeah.
whether he like goes to the dark side or he is the one that saves everybody somehow,
Oh,
Mhm.
yes.
because he's
I,
connected to Vecna.
I was thinking it was going to end with basically the events of the game that they play in the very first episode, and that Will would die there
Oh yeah,
because he doesn't roll high enough.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ashley, when you were saying your theory, I really like it. we could go even a step further that 11 believes Mike is dead and therefore goes too far and kills herself. And then Mike wakes up. This is just Romeo and Juliet.
I know. I was going to say Romeo and Juliet
I'm
situation
just writing
here.
Romeo and Juliet right now.
Actually, in the list of like influences or something I read for like season 4, I guess this could carry over to season 5. I think Romeo and Juliet was on there. So yeah, I could definitely see that happening, Miles. I've always kind of believed, really since season 2 or like season 3 especially, that they were always kind of building up for something like that between the two of them, because also that opera Nina that Brenner plays when Eleven's in the Nina tank, it's about like the woman like goes into amnesia or something because she believes her lover is dead, but he's not really. And so they haven't fully, completely addressed all that. Of course, it could be talking just about Henry, which would be kind of weird, but
I think
I
it's
think
actually the
that's
opposite.
Yeah.
She is so traumatized she doesn't believe that he's dead. She keeps waiting for him.
Yeah.
Isn't that what she said?
Oh, I thought she believes he is dead.
Oh.
She doesn't believe he's dead.
No.
She's so weird. Nina, the little woman.
Argyle's
Argyle's on her way.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Argyle's so hilarious.
Yeah,
Have we considered?
I think that's why it's taken him so long for him to profess his love, because I just think they're building up more for Mike.
Yeah. This volume really bolstered Mike for me. His motivation, the love thing felt so weird to me, but he's in the kind of the Lois Lane complex. You know, how can I be worthy of Superman? He even mentions Lois Lane. At least Lois Lane is like an awesome career woman, ace reporter. You know, who am I? Am I just the guy who had the front yard that Superman landed in? Like his crisis there makes him incredibly susceptible to doing the heroic stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm really seeing pieces connect there.
Yeah. So our final question for today is, if you were given the opportunity to be in the writer's room for Stranger Things season 5, what would be your ideal final season, and what would you address? Like, what are some things that you would put in there, and what are some answers to questions that you would provide?
Well, I will first say that it is Stranger Things Writers Room 4, Miles 0 as far as impact. I've routinely been like, I want this to happen, and then something better happens. So, but I do want to know the nature of the Mind Flayer and Vecna and their relationship, and I'm hoping that Mind Flayer is not just a tool that Vecna used. I actually want Mind Flayer to have duped Vecna, as I said earlier, into thinking that he's in charge. I do want that, but I also recognize that we can't go too deep into the Upside Down because it just keeps getting more and more and more and more questions. You know, it's like Lost. You just keep going back and back and back until you essentially are asking a TV show to answer like these deep existential questions of why are we here? You know, so like, I think it's okay. I can leave it pretty much at that. What I really want to see is the characters. I want to see Will's arc. I want to see Eleven's arc completed, Mike's arc, like we've been talking about. So that's the most important thing to me, and I trust Duffer Brothers to really do that. And I think Will and 11, and they got to get a happily ever after. I don't want 11 to die at the end.
Yeah. I will tell you, I want to see Kali come back. I want to see 8. I want to see what happens with 8. I want to see her come in and somehow help 11. I just hate that we've left her storyline there. I don't like the idea of her never coming back into play. So I definitely want to see that. But I want to see everybody live. I mean, that's why I love Harry Potter so much. Yeah, we definitely lose some people in Harry Potter, and it's really, really sad. But the 3 main characters live, like Hope and love prevail. That's what I want to see. That is what has always driven 11. That's what makes her better than Dr. Brenner. That's what makes her better than Vecna. I mean, that's what allowed her to defeat Vecna the first time, when she has that memory of her mother's love when she was being born. So I want to see love prevail. I want to see them all live.
Yeah, so do I. I just want them all to have a happy ending, and the future would be bright, but I would love it to be kind of It style, where they could set up for 10 years from now, they all come back and do like a little mini series or whatever,
Ooh.
of, them as adults. But yeah, also I would like a little bit more of Henry's backstory, particularly with his mother. And also because Victor Creel, when he's talking about the demon, he said it had destroyed our town or wrecked our town. And I don't really quite know what he really meant by that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really looking forward to learning more about the Upside Down. The other brothers have said that's going to happen, even though I do think it's just a dimension that's been around for millions of years that maybe isn't explainable. But yeah, I mean, I want it to be like just action packed throughout the whole season, which I think it will be, because right now the only thing I envision in my mind is just it's battle. All the episodes is just battle,
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you think that they will take a cue from HBO and Disney and possibly release them only 1 or 2 episodes at a time?
Wow. Great question.
They could, since it's the 5th and final season, and even though they've said they've had spin-offs in the works, which are going to be entirely different, so telling when those will be out on Netflix. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, to be honest with you. I would love it if they did like in 2 to 3 episode segments, like each week. But yeah, I would love it if they did that, since it's the final season.
I think I would too, because we want to savor the final season as long as possible.
I think they'll drop it all, though, just to be consistent.
But they didn't drop it all for...
But not for, like... Did they do it because they didn't want to, or did they do it because those episodes were literally not done?
That's a good question.
Probably the latter.
I would... As someone with a Stranger Things podcast, as you are, Ashley, I'd love them to do weekly so we can do a podcast every week and not feel the overwhelming feeling of trying to review 11 hours like this.
Oh, yeah, this is tough.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to add, or you think that about covers everything right now?
Yeah.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
It was really, we did an instant reaction show. That was so difficult. This was much better to get our thoughts out. So
and really like changing thoughts too, because you don't have as much as a shock factor and you're able to process things more.
Yeah.
No, I just like to say I'm looking forward to seeing what season 5 has to offer.
Yeah, good or bad. I'm like,
good or bad.
Just hit me with it. Just hit me.
Here we go.
Yeah. Like, just like a Band-Aid, just
we're ready.
rip it off.
Rip it off.
Yep.
Yeah. So before I get you guys out of here, you want to let everyone know where they can find you on the socials?
Yeah, we are on Twitter at StrangerStill22.
Now have a TikTok.
We now have a TikTok at StrangerStill22, where we post little segments of our we don't have a Facebook, but we post little segments of our podcast, and we will be reviewing every episode of season 4 this summer. So we'll be doing our deep dives.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Ashley.
so much for having us. It was a blast.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.